When somebody's dying, if they make statements while they die, it's called a dying declaration. It's not hearsay. So if she identifies her killer just before she passes away, it is admissible in court. It really is powerful. And like I said, it's uncross-examinable. Every time I see a case, one of these videos, I always go into the defense mode. You know, what is your defense? I can't for the life of me think of one, honestly.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your board-certified criminal defense lawyer, coming to you with my pearl-handled pistol cufflinks, so graciously gifted to me by who? By our content genius, Michael Rivers, who's behind the camera as we speak, the man I try to please every day. So the name of this one is Victim Burnt Alive Survives Long Enough to Solve Her Own Murder. This was originally put out by Explore With Us, and they've got some really good content, so I highly suggest that you visit their channel. I haven't seen this. It's going to be a little bit longer video, so make sure you got your popcorn. Grab a beer or a soda or your Merlot or whatever you got. Kind of hunker in because this is going to be a little bit longer video. And before we get to this, make sure you know that this is also brought to you by eSign.com. eSign.com is really an effective way to remotely do business. I use it all the time. I've downloaded the app. You know why? Because I get 3 free signatures a month. It's an effective way to get a document signed very fast. So, for example, if you have an agreement, time is of the essence. Go to eSign.com. I use it for retainer agreements. I use it for medical releases. Just about any kind of document where you need a signature, and especially if you need it fast, go to eSign.com. And plus, they're a great sponsor of our channel, and I highly encourage you to visit eSign.com and download the app and use it. So let's get started right away. This is along the lines of true crime, and I don't know anything about it, so let's see what.
She's burnt. She burnt. So like somebody probably set the cone for or something. I don't know. She just come out of the woods to my house.
So you can tell this right away that we're in the South.
The worst one I've seen. I couldn't believe she was still conscious and alert with the amount of burns she had.
What did she do that was so awful?
Burns are the most damaging, the most painful kinds of injuries you can get. In fact, 1.5 years ago, I tried a civil case along with another law firm. The client was burned 40% of his body, and then they had to take another 40% for skin grafts. And it was really a tough case, especially when you hear about the daily struggles that somebody with very severe burns has.
It was so awful that she would die a torturous death like this. That's what we want to know. I have nothing to do with nothing. That's my friend. I'm telling you, that's my friend. I would never hurt her.
When you have cases that have aggravating factors, and burning somebody alive is an aggravating factor because it is the worst thing that can happen. It ratchets up the sentence quite a bit.
On March 24th, 2010, a man named Terrence sat outside his home in Pensacola, Florida, enjoying the fresh night air. By all accounts, it was a perfect spring night. That is, until a faint voice rang out from the forest surrounding his home. At first, Terrence couldn't make out what the voice was saying, and then it came again, a panicked and pained moan. It was a woman calling out for help. Terrence couldn't have had the slightest idea of the gruesome crime that had just been committed against this woman, a crime so brutal that you may have trouble believing it.
In reference to the call, we're on scene. The fire saying that the patient, she's got second-degree burns over 100% of her body, but she's...
Second-degree burns over 100% of her body. Second-degree, so there are 3 different types of burns. You can have first, second, and third degree. First degree is just a little bit of redness. Second degree is blistering. And charring is third degree. The case that I was telling you about with my client, that was third degree, 40% of his body. This is at least second degree, 100% of her body.
She's saying that there was no vehicle involved, that people dragged her out of her house and set her on fire.
At first, through the forest shrouded in shadows, Terrence couldn't make out the woman calling for help. Moments later, when he finally could, he was horrified. A 19-year-old woman, Adriana Zimmerman, slowly stumbled toward him out of the darkness. Burns coated every inch of her skin, so severe that he couldn't make out the color of her skin or
Now think about that. Every time I see a case, one of these videos, I always go into the defense mode. What is your defense? Fuck, I can't for the life of me think of one, honestly. When you have a victim, the only thing that really works on a case like this, because there's no justification for burning somebody like this, is there? No, there isn't. So the only real defense that would work in a case like that is, I was in Detroit. I was nowhere near.
whether she was wearing any clothes at all. Terrence called 911 while Adriana sought refuge on his porch.
911. What's going on out there?
Somebody saw burn up. Her, this lady on fire right now.
Do what?
She burnt all up. You gotta.
She's burnt?
She burnt. Somebody probably set the car on fire or something. I don't know. She just come out of the woods to my house.
I mean, imagine being the person that receives her. Imagine being the one calling 911. When I was in college, I drove an ambulance, and sometimes we would take people to the burn unit. And I took this young kid to a burn unit once, and oh my God, it was just horrific. It was, because the pain doesn't stop. The pain is constant. And this gal, from this moment on, is in for a long road.
As they waited for EMS to arrive, Terrence noted that Adriana smelled heavily of gasoline, and there was a severe injury on her head in addition to the burns. Whatever she had endured had left her barely clinging to life. By 9:24 p.m., an EMT arrived at the scene to find Adriana sitting on the porch with her arms outstretched, rocking back and forth to soothe her pain. The extent of her burns meant that the EMT on the scene couldn't offer her much medical assistance. Even for a seasoned EMT, the sight was deeply disturbing.
So I was telling you about a client of mine that, he was burned 40% of his body. When they finally released him from the hospital, he had to have a nurse come in, and he would kick his mother out of the house because he didn't want her to hear him scream as they changed his bandages. And that was just water. In his case, 180-degree water. In this case, we got petroleum burns, which are worse.
She was kind of moaning. She was just in a sitting position, and the way she was looking it hurt to move anywhere, so she was kind of in whatever position she was the most comfortable. It was in a sitting with her arms stuck straight out. She was moaning, and it was hard to understand her due to her jaw. Her jaw was very deformed and stuck out. So she kept, mumbling, help me, and I told her, I'll try to help you. You just got to stay there and try not to move for me. Really, with a burn victim like that, there's nothing much we can do until EMS gets there.
And your training experience when you saw her, what was your first thought?
That's the worst one I've seen. I couldn't believe she was still conscious and alert with the amount of burns she had.
Did you feel her condition was grave?
Yes, sir.
Just from your experience and seeing what you've seen?
Yes, sir. Just from seeing that, plus the head trauma, the amount of head trauma she had to her face.
Now, what would cause somebody to do this to her? So one of the things you look at is motive. Was she a witness in a case? It kind of sounds like something that, or is this revenge for something else? This is really cruel. And one of the things that a court can look at when they, exacerbate a sentence or give you a harsher sentence is particular cruelty. And this is particularly cruel.
I would not have expected her to make it through the night. She kept telling me I'm about to pass out. I'm about to pass out. So I told her, try to stay awake for me, and I wanted to get the info of the suspects before she passed out.
Fearing that she would never wake up if she passed out, the EMT dug for all the information that he could about what happened to her. She managed to tell him that she'd been taken from her house.
When somebody's dying, if they make statements while they die, it's called a dying declaration. It's not hearsay. So if she identifies her killer just before she passes away, it is admissible in court as a dying declaration.
Tased, beaten with a crowbar, and then set on fire. En route to the hospital, the paramedic supervisor tended to Adriana's wounds as much as they were able to. In their interview with the police, they disclosed heart-wrenching details of the ride to the hospital.
And I told her, keep fighting. And she kept saying over and over again, am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? And I told her I was going to try. And she said, just tell me I'm going to wake up and see my babies. I got to talking to her, and I told her that I was probably going to be the last person she talked to for a while, and that in order to catch the people that did this to her. I needed her to tell me if she knew who it was. And I asked her why they did it to her, and she said, I thought we'd made up.
Thought we made up. See, one of the things that, there again, we go into motive. It's funny how that just dovetails my own thinking. But when you have cruelty like this, it's usually some close association, right? Somebody like a boyfriend or somebody that is, close to you. And because it's just a rage.
Without being able to give more details about the horror she had endured, Adriana was given morphine for her pain and fell into a coma. Investigators were desperate to find the perpetrators behind such a heinous crime. It wasn't long before they inferred that wading through all the convolution and getting to the heart of the horrific incident was going to be anything but clear-cut. This is Cypress Trail Mobile Home Park, where 19-year-old Adriana had only lived for a few months before the horrific incident took place. Adriana moved to Florida with her children from her hometown of Lubbock, Texas. Her family, who lovingly nicknamed her Augie, missed her from the moment she left for the Sunshine State. She was a loving, dedicated mother to her 2 children, and her final words before she fell into a coma confirmed this. En route to the hospital, barely clinging to life, she repeatedly asked the medical professionals to take care of her children and check on them since they were home alone. Mere hours after Adriana was taken to the hospital, law enforcement arrived at the trailer park. They knocked on Tina Brown's door at lot number 3 of the trailer park, where she lived with her 16-year-old daughter, Brittany Miller. Then they knocked repeatedly at lot number 1, where Heather Lee resided with her husband, Darren Lee. For nearly an hour, no one responded, until finally, after incessant knocking, Heather answered. She, Darren, and Tina had been holed up inside her home the entire time.
If something like this happened, you're in a fucking trailer park. You heard what was going on, right? If you're innocent and they're knocking on the door and no one's answering, there's just never a good reason to use violence unless you're defending yourself.
Then, the police had plenty of questions for them. Throughout the interrogations you're about to see, law enforcement is forced to wade through a sea of contradictions and lies.
You divide and conquer. You put people in this room, in this room, in this room. You don't interview them together. And maybe you go back and forth. You know what she's telling. And sometimes they bullshit you. Sometimes they say, you know what she's telling me? She's telling me it's all you. Now, if it's different, you got to let me know. Well, that's not what he's saying this. They do that, go back and forth. And they eventually try to get to some semblance of the truth. And somebody always cracks. Always cracks.
By suspects who were seemingly racing each other to dry land. That race to escape began the moment Heather Lee was put in a cop car to be brought back to the station for questioning. The following footage has been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed professional counselor and a licensed attorney.
It's cold in here. All right, keep going.
She says she's cold back here.
Now, keep in mind, if you have what happened in this, this is why lie detectors are effective. You have this in your brain. You have this horrific flipping scene in your brain. It affects you physically. Unless you're such a psychopath that or a sociopath that you just don't feel anything for anybody. But I don't think that's the case here.
Can you tell me what's going on?
Huh?
Can you tell me what's going on?
Just hang tight, okay, dear?
Okay.
After setting Heather in the car, the police leave her alone for another 20 minutes.
That's also a tactic. Record her for as long as she's in the car, by herself. Because there may be what they call spontaneous utterances. And anything she says, anything she does, any movement she makes will be admissible in court.
She fidgets anxiously in the back seat.
What's your full name?
Heather.
Heat?
Her.
You work anywhere?
No, sir, not at the time.
Several witnesses and neighbors interviewed alleged that many people in the trailer park sold illegal substances or allegedly worked as escorts, including Tina, Heather, Adriana, and their partners. In the 4 months leading up to the battery of Adriana, cops had visited the trailer park 25 times. But this time would prove to be the most ghastly, heartbreaking visit of all.
What is going on?
Okay. Well, first of all, we're
So you got drugs and prostitution.
investigating a battery here with your neighbor there behind you,
Adriana?
I guess. The lady lives behind you. Listen to me now.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you some questions.
Okay. I just see Adriana earlier today.
My name is Investigator Watts. I'm with the Sheriff's Office. And we were called out here on an aggravated some type of disturbance tonight.
Here comes the Miranda warning. Miranda attaches when? In custody, interrogation. You're in the back of a squad car, you're in custody. He's starting to talk to you and ask you questions, that's interrogation. So let's say he doesn't give her the Miranda warning here. They can't use what she says.
Okay, where your neighbor was critically injured and you have been implicated, maybe having some knowledge or information or even being involved. Okay. I have to ask you some questions, but before I ask you any questions, I'm going to have to advise you your rights, okay?
The detective reads Heather her Miranda rights. She accepts them rather calmly, but her calmness and patience will start to wane as the police begin to really question her.
First of all, tell me, do you know the situation we're talking about here?
No, sir. That's why I keep asking what's going on.
Okay. Where have you been all afternoon? What have you been doing?
I've been here at the house. I was cooking. I see Adriana earlier today.
Who?
Adriana, my neighbor. She was down this way by my aunt's house talking with us earlier. And then I had went back in the house. I cooked and I laid down after that.
Okay, is anybody in the house with you?
Nobody but my husband. He was in there asleep.
That's your husband?
In bed, yeah.
I'm not sure exactly where this happened in relation to the trailer park, but it's certainly, if you heard somebody being dragged out of their trailer, you would hear it, and especially if she screamed.
That's your husband?
In bed, yeah.
Y'all, is just two of y'all live there?
Yeah. My kids with my mom.
Okay, this girl was taken from her house and beaten up, okay?
Okay, I seen her earlier today. She told me that she had a date. That's all she told me. And I asked her who it was. She was riding the bike up and down Detroit. And I asked her when she went that way, I said, where do you keep going when you go that way? She kept saying Fowler. But she would never tell me where on Fowler.
So what she's trying to do here is set up an alibi. Not alibi, but she's trying to set up a story to deflect any kind of blame from her. Another reason why this may have happened.
And then she said, girl, I got a hot date tonight.
It's interesting that Heather immediately provides information to deflect the interest away from herself and toward the
We think alike.
supposed hot date.
Do you know?
Do you know how easy that is to check? Do you know how easy that it? People do stupid shit and they come up with stupid stories that are so easy to debunk. All you gotta do is look at her phone. Who are the last people she talked to? You know, I mean, did she have a hot date? Well, then you'd think there'd be a text. I'm on my way, or I'm over here.
The lady lives in lot 3 back there?
Tina, yes, I know Tina. All of us know each other out here. I met her when she first moved out
Okay, how long has she been here?
here. I'm not quite sure. It's been a couple months, so. She ain't been living out here no longer than a year.
Okay, where?
So, this is why it's important, if you're a defendant, to not give a statement. And the reason being is that she's giving details that'll be easy to show that she's full of shit.
Where did you go tonight before we got here?
Tonight?
Tonight? Yeah.
I didn't go anywhere.
So you've been in your house?
I've been here
The whole
and down by Tina's house and by my aunt's house and back here. I was here cooking.
She just put her at Tina's house, scene of the crime.
My other aunt, my mom's sister, came around here, her and the kids. And I was in there cooking fish and fries. And it's still on the stove.
Heather telling the officer that the fish is still on the stove is an attempt to prove that she's being truthful. In reality, her desperation to provide evidence of her activities only makes her look more suspicious. People who are innocent often don't feel such a stark need to back their story up. In just a moment, you'll see her try to validate her whereabouts even more by listing people who can provide her with an alibi. Take note of just how many times she does this.
I won't sit here and believe what you're saying, but we're getting information. You know what's going on here. You and Tina.
I don't know anything about what's going on here. Like I said, I was here at the house. My mom called me on my cell phone. I talked to my mom. My aunt came here, her, the kids. My 2 cousins was in the car with her. My aunt down in the 4th trailer, she seen me today. My Uncle Charles seen me today.
So you're sitting here and telling me that you and Tina, y'all didn't have a problem with this girl back there?
I didn't have no problem with Adriana.
Another thing that would be so easy to verify, because guess what? People who have a beef with each other, especially like this kind of stuff, there's text after text after text after text.
I've been hanging out with Adriana every day. All of us been hanging out together.
You and Tina didn't jump on her?
No, I didn't do nothing to Adriana. I would not harm a hair on her head.
Heather's protesting that she couldn't have been involved because she would never hurt any part of Adriana is known as a convincing statement. This type of statement is often a sign of deception, as a truthful person's first instinct would likely be to outright deny an allegation, rather than try to convince the person posing the question of something.
I had to protect her once before.
From who?
Because her and some girls was getting into it, and I stopped them from jumping on her. Other than that, I haven't had any problems with her. Her kids, I always have her kids with me. Me and Adriana is just like that. Ever since she moved out here, we became friends.
And I certainly didn't put any gasoline in and burn the shit out of her. I would never do such a... Oh, you didn't tell me that? You mean I came up with that on my own? That's another thing people fucking do.
Here, Heather's palm seems to be facing up as she's speaking. The palm-up position is not very affirmative, and it suggests that the speaker is asking or pleading to be believed.
That kind of body language bullshit is never admissible in court. You can't use that.
This may indicate that she's feeling uncertain about the statement she just made.
And the kids, I love the kids.
Think about it. This, you know, or this. You know, I ain't fucking do this.
They went with me to get my hair done and everything. I seen her this morning, and then I seen her about 2 and about 3.
Where'd you see her at?
I seen her down this way by my aunt's house. She was right down there. Yeah, she was right down there.
That's when you were down there when you saw her?
Yeah.
Those 3?
She came over to the car.
So you're saying you saw her 3 different times today?
Yes, I seen her
and
today.
And she was down there?
She was down there. She was talking to me.
Is that all you know about this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I put that on everything I love.
And you swear that this statement you gave me is the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
And I put that on everything I love.
Adriana is my friend.
You got anything? No, sir. All right.
The police conclude their interview, but what Heather requests next is very telling and makes her look even more suspicious.
I want to see her.
See who?
Adriana.
Well, that's not going to be possible right now. Guys, where you found her?
I want to see her. Think about that. Why would you want to see her? And if she was just beaten up and it was no big deal, I mean, she knows it's grave. The officer hasn't given her many details.
Would you tell me if you knew what happened?
Yes, sir, I would. That's my friend.
Okay. All right, we'll be back with you in just a second, okay?
Why is she crying? It's not just a simple assault, that's why. And she knows what happened. Remember what I was telling you? You have it in your body. You know what the deal is. When something's super grave like that, or just think about something that negative that's really important that happened to you. You know, somebody broke up with you and you were badly in love with them. You know, how your body just feels the dread. And the same thing happens, you know, those physical responses happen, and there's nothing you can do to fucking control them unless you're a sociopath.
Once more, Heather is left in the car. She shifts uncomfortably and sniffles, wiping her tears until it seems she cannot take the anxiety brewing inside of her any longer.
This really is a form of eliciting a response. So if she would have asked for a lawyer, I'd make some argument that keeping her in the car is a deliberate attempt to elicit a response, because now she's been in there for 20 minutes, before the interview. We had the interview, however long that is, and now she's in there. So she's in a confined space for quite a long time.
While to some her next actions may seem to be those of a desperate friend, to others they likely appear to be those of a suspect trying to feign concern.
Baby!
And here's the rub on this. Anything she does, whether she's innocent or not, one could find something to pick apart.
I wanted to know what's going on. Huh? I wanted to know what's going on.
Didn't the investigators tell you already?
Yeah, they told me that, but...
Okay, well, I can't tell you any more than what they told you, sweetheart.
All right, they didn't tell me I was under arrested or...
No, you're not under arrest.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, you are. You're in the back of a fucking SWAT car. You can't move. Oh, you're detained. You're not under arrest. Give me a break. You're under arrest.
Okay.
How can I find out where can I go see her at?
You just got to wait, okay?
And then when they all get done, I can find out?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Your husband will come in here. He wants to talk to you.
Okay.
Meet Darren Lee, Heather's husband.
Uh-oh. This is another way to solicit a statement. So they probably... I don't know if she realizes that there's a camera in there. I doubt it, but maybe they do.
He's no stranger to run-ins with law enforcement, having been convicted of 2 prior felonies in 2001, including battery and sale of a controlled substance. As soon as he's put in the car, it seems that the couple begins retracing their steps in a discreet way to ensure her and Darren's stories are aligned once they're separated for questioning.
Why in the hell would you put him in the car with her? There's only one reason, and that is so they incriminate each other.
Investigation, we can only speculate as to the reason behind Heather and Darren having been placed in the vehicle together.
Oh, jeez. It's possible. I swear to God, great minds think alike. We're right on track.
It's possible that law enforcement just needs to secure them for the time being. However, it's also a possibility that officers are intent on capturing what the two might inadvertently disclose as the camera is running.
That's not what you did this. That's what they told me.
They say, oh, we're going to go down and ask some questions or something.
I'm gonna what?
Go down and ask some questions. I told them before that Block and Brown came by and ate some fish with them. Told them that y'all may leave.
So he's telling her a story. Now think about that. Why would he have to tell her that if it, they would both have that in their mind, wouldn't they? And so my point is, he's telling her what he told the cops. Well, if they both had that in their brain, why would he have to tell her what he told the cops? It is exactly what they've just said earlier, that they're trying to get their story straight.
Well, she said that you told them that we were asleep.
I told her that I was just in her sleep.
448, copy code. Yeah, I told
Well, they don't match.
I told them that we was getting pissed like the movie.
Go ahead, 448.
17,
Yeah, and I was right there on the couch. The Block and Graham came by.
Yeah, man. I'm bored, man. That's why I'm not doing it. They hit my team back for enough questions. Y'all ain't getting charged with that shit. You don't want to ask y'all questions.
I ain't got no problem with going. Like I told him. I seen Adriana earlier today.
They talking about the gas can and everything else.
What gas can?
Gas can from the on floor.
The gas. Them gas cans being on the porch. I don't even know who gas cans do this.
I told them Jerry's.
The other thing people think when they talk to the cops is they have to come up with an answer for everything. That's why when I have a client and the cops want to interview him, I don't let them, because I don't know what the cops know. And so the first time my client tells their story, it's got to be on the stand.
I don't know who gas cans does this.
Heather's reaction to Darren mentioning the police taking gas cans off their porch is rather frantic and over the top.
Them gas cans being on the porch. I don't even know who gas cans do this.
Not only that, I mean, does she even know the cause of death at this point? It doesn't seem like they asked her about it.
especially considering the fact that at this time, officers had not even disclosed that Adriana was burned.
I swear to God, we are just in sync here.
I didn't know what the hell was going on. They told me I just seen her today. And now they saying she in intensive care. I seen her before it got dark.
All right, man.
She asked me for a band-aid today.
I'm gonna give you about a minute more, say your things, and we fixing to go. I need to talk to you real quick. All right? I'll give you about a minute more. Say goodbye.
Hey, am I on arrest?
You are not free to go at this time, so you can consider whatever you want to consider. You're not free to go right now.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Okay. I think I can hold you 48 hours or something. I don't know. You are...
48 hours?
I think you're detained at this time. How about that? So we get a chance to talk to you. Okay? They just want to talk to you.
Oh.
I don't know why they're reluctant to tell her she's under arrest. Maybe if we say, well, you're not under arrest, you're just detained. You know, just it makes it sound like, you know, oh, this will be wrapped up here shortly. And that way, maybe she's, you know, more apt to give a statement, you know, and fuck herself even more with the bullshit story. I don't know.
The two are being detained as the officer has reasonable suspicion that there is criminal activity afoot, or evidence of criminal activity to be found through the temporary detention and questioning of the individuals.
And to actually detain or arrest somebody at this point, I mean, she's under arrest. And you have to have probable cause.
A detention is different than an arrest, which requires that the officer has probable cause to believe a crime has in fact been committed, was in the process of commission, or was about to be committed. The standard for probable cause is higher than that of reasonable suspicion. Reasonable suspicion must be based on specific and articulable facts, combined with rational inferences from those facts.
It might be a little bit higher, but it's not much higher. Probable cause is the lowest standard I have, you know, in terms of proof. And probable cause just means slightly more true than not true.
And the suspicion must be associated with the specific individual or individuals being detained.
They're kind of trying to get me involved in whatever happened with that. Told me, I don't know, but they ain't seen that all goddamn thing.
You get my phone and call Jean.
The Jean that Heather is referring to is an attorney who she will be asking for rather frantically soon.
She should have asked for Gene a long fucking time ago.
After this, Heather, Tina, and Darren were brought to the station for further questioning. However, there was still one person missing whom cops desperately wanted to speak with, 16-year-old Brittany Miller, Tina's daughter. Tina told police that earlier Brittany had left for the hospital with her friends, Jessica and Mallory, in Tina's maroon SUV. Brittany had hurt her hand, though Tina told investigators that she didn't know how. Investigators searched the area for Brittany and the SUV, but their initial searches proved fruitless. Brittany's name, car make, and model, and her physical description were broadcast to all patrol units in a desperate attempt to find her. Without Brittany in custody, back at the station, the thorough questioning of Tina, Heather, and Darren began. On top of their
fleeing from a scene or making yourself unavailable or hiding out, it's also evidence of consciousness of guilt.
On top of their stories contrasting with one another, even their demeanors in the interrogation rooms were wildly different. You have Heather, who is clearly distressed.
Officer!
Yes, ma'am.
Please give me a nurse or something.
For what?
I don't feel good.
Generally speaking, when you're arrested for murder, you don't feel good. It sucks.
I wouldn't be feeling good either.
Yeah.
I'm having an anxiety attack. I have anxiety attacks.
Well, I've already called. They're supposed to be coming back to you. Okay? That's all I can do right this moment.
Okay.
Sit up there in that chair up there and set your head down on that desk. Just breathe right.
And keep in mind that the whole time she's in there, she's being recorded. So anything she says, anything she does, you know, they're going to parade that up and down in front of the jury like nobody's business.
Okay?
Okay.
And you just sit in there long enough, you forget the camera's there. And then when you forget the camera's there, you say and do shit that makes it impossible to defend you.
Please let it be alright. Please let it be alright. Oh God, please let it be alright. Please let it be alright. Please let it be alright.
Heather's anxiety is tangible in the 30 minutes she's left alone in the interrogation room. And as you'll see shortly when her interrogation continues, she has every reason to be anxious. Her husband, on the other hand, didn't seem entirely concerned when he was interrogated, even casually chatting with someone on the phone beforehand.
Well, that. No, man, I'm alright. You know what I'm saying? I'm chilling, man. I'm copacetic right now.
Copacetic. I'm copacetic right now. Now, the conversation he had with his wife in the back of the squad car is alarming. But his demeanor is... He's a pretty cool customer.
In use. Oh, yeah. All right, dude. Know
And remember what I said about having that information inside you? You know how that does, unless you're a sociopath?
I'm really trying to do, but I'm coming when I get home. You ready, man? 477. Yeah. I'm for real. I'm gonna call you right back, man. I ain't getting off this goddamn phone. Who is it? My bad. I got to, man. I don't know, man. He gonna take my phone. You done? Yeah. All right.
And then there's Tina, sitting emotionless in the interrogation room while she waits for police to enter and question her.
Did you grab a phone? Okay. Oh. How you doing? I'm Investigator Lee Tyree, and this is Investigator Tom Watts.
After this, the police remind everyone of their rights now that they are officially in the interrogation rooms. An important thing to note is that Tina was the first to be interrogated, followed by Heather. Take a look at how their stories compare. Even their initial retellings of why they didn't answer the door don't align.
I've been talking to you for a few minutes. I was kind of trying to find out why you weren't answering the door when we came to your house this evening. You explained that you saw the cops and that you were nervous about that. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were just watching movies.
Okay, so you, Darren, and Tina were sitting in the living room. Heather were sitting there in the living room watching movies. Mm-hmm. And when the cops knocked on the door, what'd y'all do?
We were sitting there.
Remember, Heather said she was sleeping.
Okay. Why didn't you answer the door?
It ain't my door.
Okay. Did they do anything special when the cops knocked on the door? Turn out the lights, turn off TV?
The lights were already off because we were being nosy, looking out the window, seeing what's going on next door.
Okay, so you saw the cops next door first?
Mm-hmm.
Were the lights on before the cops came over next door?
Yeah.
And then y'all turned them off when they came over next door?
Yeah, you can see better with the lights off. You don't see nobody looking back at you.
Tina haven't been at my house all night.
Okay, so you sitting there in the...
Tina wasn't there.
In the living room watching movies. Mm-hmm. Tina hasn't been at your house?
She haven't been at my house all night.
Where was she at?
She came in. She came and knocked on the door, and I got up. She said the police was out there.
Okay.
And I just laid there.
Did she come in?
I was on the couch. I just laid there because I was asleep.
Did she ever come in the house after she told you the police was there?
She came in the house and she sat down.
In your house?
Yeah, she sat on my couch.
And what did she?
And I asked her what was going on, and she told me she didn't know.
I'm confused here because Darren told me that you and Tina were there and cooking all night.
Tina was there when I was cooking earlier.
Okay.
But she wasn't out there all night.
Where'd she go?
She had left. She told me she was going home.
Okay. About what time was that?
It was, what time I was...
When you have three people like this, nobody gets their fucking story straight. Even if they're telling the truth, sometimes there's inconsistencies, because people don't ever remember things identically, and if they're lying to try to cover their ass, they're certainly not going to come up with the same story.
Cooking. It was getting dark when I was cooking, and I stopped cooking about 6 or 7.
So Tina left around 6 or 7?
Yeah, she left.
Okay. And when did she come back over to your house?
She came back probably like 30 minutes to an hour later.
So she was gone for 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And she comes back and the cops show up right at the same time?
She came in and she said the cops outside.
Did you see the cops outside that time?
I got up and I looked and I seen the lights. You can see the spotlights. I see the spotlights.
And where are they at?
They was outside.
Are they outside?
They was outside of Tina's house.
They were outside of Tina's
yes,
house.
They was outside of Tina's house.
Were they outside of Adriana's house at all, or no?
When I had came out, they was outside of Adriana's house.
Okay, that's
when they knocked on the door
when
and
you
I
answered
came.
the door.
Yeah, when I answered.
You didn't answer the door for like an hour.
They didn't knock on my door.
Oh yeah, they beat on that door.
You're pounding on somebody's door, and it's a fucking trailer house. You're gonna hear it, and I'm sure some of our fans live in a trailer court. You would definitely hear somebody pounding on your door.
Like one they did because I was laying right there on the couch and I didn't hear no locks.
Even your husband said they beat on the door and you wasn't going to answer the door. And then Tina said they beat on the door and y'all didn't answer the door. I got up.
It seems Heather is facing what is known as the prisoner's dilemma. This occurs when two or more individuals who are involved in a crime are isolated from one another and urged to confess to the crime. Each is concerned only with receiving the shortest possible prison sentence, and each must decide whether to confess without knowing what decision the other or others will make.
And Tina said, "Hold on, don't answer the door." And I asked her why.
Okay.
So she's blaming Tina for you know who's outside. You know you'd be hearing radios, you'd be hearing all kinds of stuff.
We're getting a big diversity in this story.
And I'm gonna tell you like it is. Adriana is my friend. I would never hurt her. Tina came to my house and she told me not to answer my door. I asked her why. She said, "Cause the cops is out there."
Heather's emphasis points are extremely off here when she states she's my friend, then hits the table, followed by I would never hurt her, and strikes the table again. You can actually see and hear how her nonverbal emphasis does not naturally line up with her words as it should. This is widely recognized as an indicator of deception.
And then she asked me, she said, "Where are the cops at?" I said, "They down there by your house. Why you keep asking me where the cops at?" Mm-hmm. And she wouldn't never say. She
acting nervous?
She was acting nervous. She started back puffing on the cigarette.
She's putting the blame on somebody else.
On the cigarette.
Did she look like she was been running, or did she look like she'd been in a fight?
She was acting normal.
Notice that Heather's palm is up here, which may be an indication once again that she's unsure of the story she's telling.
Again, not admissible in court.
And asking to be believed.
Let me ask you a question.
She was acting normal.
You said when we asked.
And I said, "Tina, you seen Adriana tonight?" She said, "No, I haven't seen it tonight."
Now they're looking for her. I mean, it's another wrinkle in it. Why would you be looking for her?
And she didn't tell you why she didn't want you to answer the door.
She didn't say anything about why not to answer the door.
But she did tell you not to answer the door.
Yeah. And I told her, I said, I don't have anything to hide. I'm going to open my door. And then I got up and I said, "Who is it?" And they said, "The sheriff's department." And I opened the door.
What was Darren doing?
He was laying at the bottom of the couch watching TV.
All along, nobody sits there, and all three of them, none of them realize they have the right to a lawyer and to cease questioning at any minute.
And you're absolutely sure of this?
Yes, sir. I am sure.
Because this story's a lot different than Tina's story.
I am sure.
As the investigator has pointed out, Heather's story is wildly different from her husband's.
Okay, so you were sleeping until about 7, so you don't know anything prior to that?
No.
Okay. And your wife tells me this story about Tina coming in, saying the cops are outside, and that y'all look out and you see the cops surrounding Miss Zimmerman's trailer. And she says for y'all not to answer the door. Now, I don't recall any of that conversation going on in yours. Now, I do remember you saying y'all didn't answer the door because it was police. Yeah. Tell me about that.
I don't want to say the police was out there.
Okay, so you don't recall Tina coming in and saying that the police are outside?
Tina was already in the house.
Because your wife tells us that you and her at home alone Tina comes barreling in and saying, "Hey, the cops are outside." And y'all see the cops outside, and Tina's saying, "Don't answer the door."
No, that's a lie.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's what Heather told us, your wife.
I'll tell you that's a lie.
Okay. Why would she lie to us? Do you know?
I don't know.
I mean, she was distraught. She was crying. She was telling us this story. She seemed like
emotional.
Emotional, but she also seemed sincere.
Yeah.
It's possible that Heather is lying in order to make Tina look bad and compromise her alibi, though clearly she and Darren aren't on the same page about that plan.
Obviously know something's up.
Yeah.
So tell me what happened tonight.
Nothing happened that I know of.
Notice how Tina is rubbing her neck, which is a major red flag. It's obvious that she's feeling very insecure and apprehensive.
Just so you know, cops do not have a whole lot of training in body language. They've got training in interviewing, they know certain cues, that kind of thing. But, this science of reading body language is not really proven.
Neck massaging in general is a calming response. In addition, rubbing the vagus nerve near the side of the neck, close to where a pulse is taken, actually results in the release of acetylcholine, which sends signals to the heart to slow down a person's heart rate. However, this isn't to say she's guilty, as she's clearly in a stressful situation, but it's also an important tell to take note of.
See your arms and hands if I could. Okay, can I see the top signs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those old scars on there?
Yeah, I have a puppy.
Okay, and what's this right here? That little scratch there?
This?
Yeah.
I have a puppy.
Okay, and your puppy caused that?
Look, I'm going to move here.
Got your chin? Okay.
Nothing new.
All right.
No, yeah,
So where were you tonight?
At Heather's.
At Heather's house?
Well, I was at home. My daughter's braiding my hair, so I was at home, but it started hurting, and her little friends started coming by.
Remember what Tina has said here about her daughter braiding her hair. It will prove to be quite important as the investigation continues.
So Heather said she was going to cook, so I went down there. She was cooking fish and French fries, and then we just started watching movies.
Okay. And did you go anywhere from there?
Mm-mm.
You were there all night until the cops came up there?
Mm-hmm.
Hand to her mouth here. Whether conscious or not, many individuals will attempt to hide their lie by physically covering the source of their deception.
What time did you go over there?
Probably.
So you don't know what the other two people are saying. There's no way for you to coordinate at this point with your stories. So you just you shut it down. I'm going to talk to a lawyer. So I've had cases where you have multiple people, kind of like this, but none of them coughed anything up, and it was about drugs and who owned what. And when you have a situation where they're pointing the finger at other people, in this situation, nobody pointed the finger at anybody else, but they all said that they weren't mine. You've got some unsophisticated people here, and some sophisticated investigators.
It just started getting dark.
Okay, so about sunset, you go over to Heather's.
Mm-hmm.
Was anybody over at Heather's house when you went over there?
Keep in mind, us going through this right now, you and I going through this right now, this is kind of what I do for work. This is what I will get these videos and I will go through them. And so this is kind of what I do for a living. You're kind of getting to see how I would analyze, interrogation videos.
Just Heather and her husband.
Do you know what happened to Adriana tonight?
No, I don't. Heather just said she got beat up, but that's all I know.
A little bit more than that. And what was Darren doing while y'all over there cooking? Anything?
Laying on the couch watching movies.
Okay. All right, but you were home all night. You didn't see any kind of disturbance going on over there before the cops came over there or anything?
No, we would have heard something.
You said you saw Adriana.
That's true. You would have heard something. If somebody broke into her house and took her out of her trailer, remember this is a trailer. It doesn't have thick walls. It doesn't have cement walls where you can't hear. Somebody farts in one trailer, they all smell it in the other trailers. I guarantee it.
Adriana earlier today?
Mm-hmm.
What time was that?
Adriana was coming and going on a bicycle.
Okay. You remember the last time you saw her? Was it while you were still over at Heather and Darren's?
I didn't come back out when I went to their house. We were cooking then.
Okay. So it had to have been before sunset. So you saw her during the day. Okay. And once you went over to Heather and Darren's, you never left there.
No.
You didn't go get anything or go anywhere at all.
Oh, wait a second. Maybe I did.
I don't think so.
Notice that Tina's been asked several times if she went anywhere that night, not even 12 hours prior to this interrogation taking place.
You seem kind of lackadaisical about this. We're going to go out there. We know what happened out there. It's just going to be a matter of getting fingerprints and evidence back, okay?
Out where? It happened at her house? We
No,
didn't hear...
it didn't.
It started at her house.
Right.
And then it went somewhere else.
What started at her house?
The reason we're here.
Well, we got some issues, okay? And we're going to get to the bottom of it one way or another, okay? So we're sitting here talking to you, and then I'd certainly appreciate, and I know Tom appreciates that you're talking to us. But we got to get to the bottom of this, and we got to know what happened, the truth. And, there's two choices here. Either you're going to tell us, or Heather's going to tell us.
They're pitting two people against each other and basically telling her, we're not believing what you're saying. There's something fucked up between your story and her story.
So,
come on.
Who's going to be?
Come on.
Tina is continuing to show signs of high anxiety,
Come on.
evidenced by her face, neck, and chin rubbing. It's unfortunate that the officer is throwing out questions at such a rapid pace that Tina isn't getting a chance to answer most of them.
I didn't do anything.
But he doesn't really want answers. He wants to put some pressure on her. That's essentially what he wants.
Anything to her.
Okay.
Promise to God.
And you were home all night.
Was at Heather's house.
Okay. You were at Heather's all night. Never left there. Because, see, the story between Heather and Darren is already shaky. And your story is a third version of what they've told us so far. Okay? Now, there's pieces and parts that are the same, but they aren't exactly the same. Okay? It concerns me. It sounds a little too good, and then the parts that are breaking up, I don't understand why they're not saying the same thing. Okay? And so we need to get to the bottom of this, and somebody's life may end over this. We're getting told that she's in pretty critical condition at this point and not likely to make it. So that's why we're here.
Do you understand what he's saying, not likely to make it?
Means you're going to be on the hook for a fucking homicide if you don't cough up some goods here.
Yeah, she's about to die.
Yeah.
Okay.
That changed gears. When she dies, it's going to change gears. Okay?
I didn't do anything to her.
Okay. I don't want you to tell me anything other than the truth.
Who did?
Okay?
I didn't do it.
Come on.
Okay. Still got a problem. Got anything?
If you know anything and you're withholding it, you want to be the first one on board. Okay? You see what I'm talking about? Because once we get everybody to, all the information, there's not going to be second chances.
So they don't exactly know what happened. They got an idea. And he is right in the sense that the first person on board, if her role was the instigator, and that doesn't apply. But if she knows about it and had some tangential involvement in it, and she comes forward, she can cooperate and get the benefit of that bargain.
And like I said, if she doesn't make it,
You're trying to be sleeping with a lot of guys around there.
I realize that.
Okay, now she's just going down that rabbit hole.
But I could have did it. I didn't do it. I promised to go.
While Tina maintains that she had nothing to do with the attack, Heather takes a much different approach. Their behaviors are as different as their stories are, and they only grow more dramatic as the interrogations continue.
I hate it. Go grab one across the hall. Sugar, you all right?
I'm worried about Audra.
Yeah, I'm too. I'm very worried about Andrea. My friend.
Tell us what happened.
I don't know. I seen her earlier today. And
Heather,
she
let me
seemed
tell you
like
something.
everything was all right when I seen her today.
Let me tell you a little bit what's going on, okay? We did get a chance to talk to Adriana before she went to the hospital.
Yes, sir.
She told us a few things.
So those are those dying declarations that we're talking about?
Told us who did this to her.
Yes, sir.
She told us where they took her and what they did to her.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Why do you think I'm talking to you?
I don't know. I would never hurt her. I always have protected her when she got into it with people in that trailer park.
Heather's statement here left investigators wondering about what kind of things everyone in the trailer park were getting into with each other, and what motive it may have provided for brutally attacking Adriana.
She's also, your friend told us you did this to her.
I would never.
We need to go over what you did tonight, okay?
Yes, sir.
Your friend told us, which is probably not true.
We just talked to your other friend,
Yes,
Tina
sir.
Brown. Is that your friend too?
Yes, all of us in the trailer park.
And how about her daughter, Brittany?
Brittany.
Where were y'all tonight?
I was at home when y'all came. When they came to the house, I was right there in the same spot. They on their couch
I
going to sleep.
absolutely believe you were at home when we came over there. Where were you maybe half an hour, 45 minutes before that?
I was at home.
Okay.
I was at home. My aunt came by my house. I was in the house cooking.
You know what time
and
your
we
aunt
was
came by?
watching movies. It was almost dark. It was almost dark.
Okay, well, we came over to your house and started knocking on your door about 10 o'clock at night. Almost dark and 10 o'clock at night is a big difference. There's about 4 hours missing in there, okay? A good 3. A good 3.
The lady in trailer 4, that's my aunt. She seen me, Jerry, and...
So here she's going on, and trying to maintain this story. And the officer's trying to take some fact and some fiction to try to get some cracks in what she's saying.
Heather,
a lot of more people see me at home.
Listen to me.
They see me
About dark and 10 o'clock, there's a lot of hours in there.
I was right there on that couch.
Okay. So that's where you're saying you were right there on that couch.
CRAM and Blocker came to my house. They were laying down watching TV with us.
Okay. Anybody else come by your house?
My aunt. My cousin Crystal, my cousin Kizzy, the little baby Junior came by, Graham came by, Blocker came by,
and all
Jared was at my house.
A lot of people at that house. That's a lot of people.
Listen to me. And what time did they get by and what time did they leave?
It was dark when Jared came by there. He always come down there and ask me for cigarettes.
What's Jerry's first and last name?
His name is Jerry Johnson. That's my uncle. And my aunt name is Terry Smith.
We talked to them at the scene, I believe, didn't we?
They stayed down in the trailer floor.
I think we got statements from them down then. My recollection was they didn't see her this evening.
It was about 2 and 3.
I don't care about 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
Okay,
I care about tonight.
That's the only time I see Audrey, and I haven't seen her since then.
2 or 3 in the afternoon doesn't matter. What time did your aunt and Terry Smith come by?
Terry was at home. Her son came down. I asked him to go over to the store to get me some fish fry.
Okay, that's before you start cooking. That's before dark.
Go get me some fish fry. Does that mean get already pre-cooked food, or are you getting something to cook? Because it sounds like you're sending somebody to get some food for you, but you're supposedly cooking.
Yeah.
After dark, after you cook, after dark, who comes by?
Jerry was the only one came down. He came down for a cigarette.
Jerry Johnson.
Yes, he came
down. And you remember about what time that was?
I'm not sure what time it was, but he came for a cigarette.
And it was dark.
Yes, he asked me for a cigarette. I gave him a cigarette.
And this is, now keep in mind, I know that we're an hour into this or thereabouts, and this is all about somebody being beaten and burned to death, and she's in the ICU.
Okay. I've been at the house all the time, and I've been trying to find out where she was at. Everybody telling me they didn't know where she was at.
Heather, why would you be wondering where she's at?
Because she always hang out with me every night. We always hang out every night. And I feed her kids and everything.
The last thing she told us was you came in there along with your friends, dragged her out of the house.
I put down everything I love. I put down my chair and light. Burned her?
Yeah. And that's the last thing she told
God. Burned her?
Yes.
See, I ain't know nothing about getting burned.
So tell me, what went on tonight?
I didn't see her tonight. I see her earlier and I've been at my house.
It seems fair to say that detectives aren't buying her story. This only becomes more clear as additional horrible facts and evidence come to light.
But she was the only friend I was closest to.
Now, Heather, you know, this is all, when he talked to you earlier and all that, you wasn't upset like this. Why are you upset now?
I was crying because I didn't know that. I didn't know that she was in intensive care. The lady told me she was in intensive care and everything.
There's video of you in that car talking to your husband, and you ain't talking like this.
He was asking me, did I see her today? I told him I seen her earlier today.
Well, you know, we watched the video too, and we saw how you answered this question.
I don't care. I didn't have anything to do with this. Almost said, because this is my friend. We talking about this is my friend. You said that's going to die. This is my friend, you say.
Which sort of makes sense in a sense, because they haven't disclosed any information about what happened to her until now, that she just, and her reaction does seem a little genuine that she was burned. But I'm no expert on body language.
You say I'm gonna die. That's why I'm upset, because you're telling me my friend's gonna die.
And how do you act? How do you act if you get news that your best friend dies, and they're pointing the finger at you? How are you supposed to? So no matter what she does, whether she's protesting her innocence, whether she's sobbing uncontrollably, or if she's calm as a cucumber, no matter what she does, they're going to criticize it and point it at it like that's evidence of guilt.
I've been protected. I've been protected. I've been talking to her mom every time she get into it with them.
Who you got to protect her from?
Because she been getting into it with Tina and everybody.
Okay, now we have a little crack in the armor. She gets into it with Tina and everybody. Okay,
so what's her and Tina got a beef over? Her and Tina said they get along fine.
Me and Andrea be just like that.
So now here comes the snitch. She's gonna snitch.
What's wrong with Tina's the one hanging out at your house tonight, right?
Yes, all of us is friends, but she wanted me to go out of town with her to be her mom. And I promised her I was gonna go with her. I promised her I was gonna go with her to see her mom. I was trying to help her get some money to get home to her mom. But she didn't have anybody here in Pensacola.
At the time Adriana was attacked, she was trying to leave Florida and return home to her mother, where she could get a fresh start at a healthy life. It's tragic that that opportunity was taken away from her. Whether Heather was actually trying to help her is uncertain, but there's no doubt Heather's hoping presenting herself like a savior to Adriana will make her look less guilty.
When I asked you about Adriana and her date, you said he was supposed to come pick her up, is what she told you.
Yes.
And then you said you were sitting at your house and you saw a set of headlights come down the driveway.
You can see headlights coming in.
But you didn't pay no attention to it.
No. So I don't know if he picked her up or what.
Okay.
But I seen
Tina, let's get back to Tina.
Okay.
Was she at your house at that time?
When the headlights came in? No, she was not at my house.
Okay.
She was not at my house.
Did you ever see?
So that contradicts Tina's statement.
We're not asking you to lie about it. What did you see those headlights leave?
I seen them came in, they went down, and then the headlights came back up.
Came back. How long did they stay down there?
They had went down and was down for like 10 minutes. And then they came back up.
So you didn't.
I could lay right there on my couch by the door, and I could see headlights coming in.
Did you tell what kind of car it went to?
No, I didn't never look at the one.
So you didn't get up and see where the car went?
I didn't never get up to see where it went, but I could see the headlights coming in through my front window, and I could see the headlights coming back out through my window on the side where Adriana trailer is.
Okay.
What kind of car does Brittany have?
Brittany don't have a car.
Okay. Was she riding around in a car tonight? Did you see her in a car? Was she riding with her friends?
I didn't see her tonight.
Soon after Heather was interrogated, the police returned to question Tina more. With Heather's testimony, they have some new ways to confront Tina.
The stories are a-changing.
You know, cops love to get nuggets of a story, especially in an investigation. Because sometimes when you got everybody, if everybody's lying, very difficult to put something together. But it takes a little bit for somebody to crack, and now Heather just cracked.
It's interesting that Tina is sitting with her arms in her shirt, which isn't something we typically see with adults.
We see it when you're cold.
We do know, however, that a fight or flight response can cause extremities to feel extremely cold.
So, you had time to think about it. Where were you tonight?
At home and at Heather's house.
Okay. When did you go over to Heather's house?
Like,
Now, they've already been over this, so now she gets to repeat it. And if you repeat it, you never say the same thing twice.
Getting dark.
When it started getting dark?
About sunset.
And you stayed over there the rest of the night till the cops got there?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Because that ain't the story I'm getting.
Okay.
You don't care, huh?
I didn't go anywhere.
Heather's saying you're gone for half an hour to an hour tonight.
I was not gone for no
After
half
dinner.
an hour to an hour.
And you come back right before the cops are over there. Cops are over there around 10 o'clock. So from 9 to 10, I got you unaccounted for. So why is it that Heather's saying that your daughter didn't come by her house, that she went by your house?
Who went by my house?
Your daughter.
My daughter was at my house, supposedly.
Okay.
And she came to Heather's house.
We asked her if Brittany came by her house at all today. She said no. She said the only time she saw Brittany right after school at your house, and that's the only time she saw her today.
Well, maybe she didn't see her. I saw Brittany. When they asked who was at the door, Brittany said, "It's me, Mama." I opened the door. I went outside.
Trust me, she's cooperating with this as far as when we ask her stuff. Mm-hmm. And we asked her specifically, was Brittany at your house today?
At my house?
At her house. I'm talking to Heather at this point.
Okay.
And Heather's saying no.
She was never inside of Heather's house.
I asked Heather if you were over at her house, and she said yes, she came over around dinner time. Mm-hmm. And then she said you left for half an hour to an hour. And that when you come back, you come in a hurry, nervous, saying the cops are outside, don't answer the door.
So that's an issue because now you've got, her implicated. She's implicated by Heather. And the cops, I think, are finally getting to the bottom. When I saw Heather's reaction about her friend dying and being burned, I thought that was genuine. It's hard to tell sometimes, though, because somebody can all of a sudden, you mean I'm on the hook for fucking murder? And all of a sudden freak out. And that can look sometimes like remorse or grief. But I'm going, and I don't know the outcome of this. We'll figure it out at the end together. But I don't dispute that it looks like she's genuine.
Why is Heather telling me this?
You tell me. If me and Heather were together doing this, then how is Heather going to be already in the house and I'm not in the house?
Don't know.
It seems the detectives are trying to turn Tina against Heather by making Tina think they believe Heather may be innocent.
And that is a common thread. Divide and conquer. Well, she's saying this. You're saying this. She's saying this. Oh, but so-and-so is saying this about you.
Only stokes Tina's frustration more, as you're about to see.
The problem I got is that the story between you and Heather keeps getting further and further apart.
I have not changed nothing on mine. Not nothing.
Okay.
Nothing at all. That's the truth. If that's the truth, then that's the truth, okay?
Okay.
Nothing's changed from what I've told you. Now, you have it? Nothing at all.
The divide between Tina and Heather was growing.
Look at the difference between the demeanor. Heather is distraught, especially when she hears about that she was burned, and Tina is pissed off.
Investigators had enough contradictions between the suspects' stories that the alarm bells were now deafening. When they finally got word that Brittany's car had been located behind the house early in the morning, they brought Brittany in for questioning. Tina hadn't seen her daughter since she left for the hospital. Her panic when she thinks she sees Brittany in the hallway at the station before Brittany's first interview is evident.
So when she gets upset, when she sees her daughter, she says, "Oh, that's a I think we're fucked kind of moment."
Send my daughter. Come on. No, that's the other girl that was with you. Come on.
That's my daughter's
That
voice.
is not your daughter. You need to step back in here.
Brittany.
It's not Brittany. Jesus.
I thought she
Have a seat.
And when you're on the hot seat for a homicide like this, or a potential homicide, the stress has got to be just unbearable.
That's my baby, y'all. They're doing that too. She didn't do nothing. Ooh, he probably tell her all kind of lies.
Is she afraid her daughter is about to reveal some incriminating information to detectives? Here in the state of Florida, when a minor is taken into custody, efforts must be made to contact a parent or guardian. But generally speaking, an interrogation can take place, and this is likely not going to be favorable for Tina or her daughter. According to 16-year-old Brittany, she hung out with her friends Jessica and Mallory after school until late into the night, at which point they left for the hospital. Her story of why the trip was necessary and why her right hand was now in a cast is interesting, to say the least. When police ask her to sign a paper indicating that she's been read her rights, she struggles to sign because of her broken pinky finger, bringing even more attention to the mysterious injury.
Okay, I have to sign with my left hand.
Okay. What'd you do to your other hand?
I broke my pinky. It's really sloppy.
Yeah, just do the best you can. Why is it that you think you may be here? I know we talked to your mom last night. Did she tell you? What have you been told?
That they think that we did something to our next door neighbor,
To who?
Adriana.
Adriana? What is it that you think happened? Have you been told at all? Huh?
That I don't know. We used to hang out real good. We used to be real close. And then we just stopped hanging out.
Remember what the statement that Adriana said? I thought we had made up. Keep that in mind. That is a powerful statement from somebody that's about to die. Because if she had, they'll find out if she had any beefs with anybody else. But if this is her only beef, I thought we had made up.
Just stopped? Mm-hmm. Did y'all have any beefs or anything like that?
No.
When was the last time you talked to her?
Yesterday, around 4 o'clock, probably. Because she was riding a bike. And I just asked her where was she going with the bike. She said she was just going to ride.
Short conversation?
Yeah, it was short. That was it.
Brittany explains that she said hi to Adriana when she met her friend Mallory outside Brittany's home before the girls entered.
Went in the house and I started braiding my mom's hair. And then that's when my other friend came over that lives next door to me. And she started saying I was hurting her head and stuff, so we stopped. And then she left to go down to Heather's house, and me and my other friends, we just stayed there. Just listened to music, danced, watched movies.
Who was at the house with you dancing and watching movies?
Mallory and Jessica.
Mallory and Jessica. Is that it?
Yep.
Brittany explains that Jessica lives next door. The activities began around 5 o'clock that evening, she claims, and they continued into the night.
About what time did everybody leave?
They stayed the night. Mallory stayed the night, but Jessica, she went home. She went home about 6 o'clock in the morning because we was at the hospital.
Because your hand?
Yeah.
Tell me how that happened.
Mallory, we were in my room cleaning up my room, and I asked Mallory to toss me my key. And when she went to toss it, I went like that to try to catch him, and that's when I hit like the corner of the door right there. And that's how I broke it.
In your bedroom?
Does that seem believable? That I just went like this and hit a door and broke my fucking hand? The nice thing about the hospital, it gives you maybe a little bit of an alibi. But also, if there are injuries to somebody's head and you were punching them with your hand, and it is her right hand, and the same night.
Mm-hmm.
About what time did that happen?
Around 1 o'clock, 1:30. And that's when we left to go to the emergency room.
About 1 or 1:30?
Mm-hmm. And I went, that's when I went to the house, and I told my mom I messed up my arm.
And here's the thing. Look at this fucking shit pile mess. Just because you live in a trailer doesn't mean you can't have a neat and tidy home. It doesn't. You know, it just drives me crazy when I see stuff like this. You used to see this a lot when I drove an ambulance.
She told me to just go ahead and drive myself to the hospital.
So you took yourself up there?
Yes.
Brittany claims that Jessica and Mallory went to the hospital with her.
And you talked to your mom about hurting your hand before you left?
Mm-hmm. I told her I went down, when I heard it, I went down to the house where she was at, and I showed it to her. And I told her I heard it, and she said, just go ahead and go to the hospital.
Why wouldn't your mother take you to the hospital? If you broke your hand, wouldn't you reach out to your mother?
That's when we left.
So from about, the only times I'm really missing is from about 6 to 1. Y'all dance and watch movies from 6 p.m. to 1
Mm-hmm.
until you hurt your hand?
Yep.
Did y'all ever go outside the house?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody saw y'all outside your house? Did you ever walk down the road to any of the trailers?
No.
See, all these little factoids, every little bit of the timeline is what's going to just do everybody in here.
What time did your mom wind up coming home?
I don't know, actually, because I was asleep once I came back from the hospital. I went in her room and I went to sleep. And that's when I got woken up by the police.
And it's important that you really concentrate on what you're telling us, because it is on tape.
Mm-hmm.
Because your times are not adding up.
Okay.
Because you weren't there at your house between 6 and 1. We know that for a fact.
We were out there all night.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this ain't something we need to even ask anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And if you...
That's the danger. When you give a statement and you don't know what they know, and you're 16, or I think she's 16, she wasn't doing what she said she was doing. And there's only one reason to lie to the cops. Either you're protecting yourself or somebody else.
It's important you tell us the truth about that, or something that minor, if you want to fib about that. You understand what we're saying?
But that's why I've been at the hospital.
Well, we know you went to West Florida Hospital,
Mm-hmm.
but you didn't stay.
Yeah. They were taking too long, so we went to the other one. And that's why we're just not
And you
getting
stayed
home.
there? You went immediately to the other one?
Mm-hmm.
We know that's not true.
Well, that's where I went, so
I mean, you weren't home.
then I was at the hospital.
No, you were at the hospital at 1 o'clock. You just said.
Mm-hmm. At West Florida.
Where would you before that?
At home.
She's getting tripped up. She's getting tripped up kind of hard. And when you're dealing with, a juvenile who thinks, let me just tell you, teenagers are difficult to deal with. Teenagers think they know everything. Teenagers also think that they can outsmart adults like nobody's business. She can't see this coming.
You know what time we picked your mother up? Like at 10 o'clock, maybe 11 o'clock. So we were at your trailer. Your mother went inside. We got the title to the car.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't there. The truck wasn't there. And
Then I must have already been gone to the hospital.
Remember when she said that happened around 1 o'clock?
Since Brittany's story is unwavering, the police decide that it's time to take another approach. But will this one be more effective than the last?
We make mistakes. I make mistakes every day. Okay? There's stuff
All right, so far, have you figured out who's done this? I haven't figured it out yet. I have an idea. I think I know who's involved and who's not involved, but I don't know the outcome of this.
that I do that I wish that I could take back, but I can't. But the most important thing is that we come in here and we correct our mistakes, and you understand what I'm saying? Good people, if you've done something wrong, or if you know somebody else has, may not be you. But if we've done something wrong, we come in here and we talk about it. And if you know anything, then let's get it and make it right. There's consequences now for the mistakes that we make. So if something happened, if you know something happened, if you were there, because the story you're telling us is not even close. We want to come in here and resolve this and get it taken care of the best way we can. We had somebody hurt badly.
And, they're showing pictures of tire tracks and footprints and other forensic evidence. That always plays a huge part, and they run that by somebody's story later on.
You're a grown adult. You seem like a good person. Nobody's in here saying you're a bad person, but what we're saying is something bad happened to somebody that you know. And we feel like you know what happened.
Still, Brittany sticks to her story after the initial interviews on March 24th and the morning of the 25th that there were big gaps in everyone's timelines. Though those inconsistencies would aid them in their investigation, they needed some hard evidence and statements from others to take that next step toward actually arresting the prime suspects for attempted murder.
Right now, they've got some suspicion, but they don't have a smoking gun. I don't think we've even heard what the beef was with Adriana.
Thankfully for investigators, there was plenty of evidence at the crime scene. Just off of Ashland Avenue, only 2 miles from the trailer park, was a gas easement set back in the woods. It was there where the most gruesome part of the crime against Adriana took place. Upon entering the easement, detectives came across tire tracks. When Tina's maroon SUV was taken in, it was found that the tires were a match for the tracks left at the scene of the crime.
Whoops! I guess that is a little kink in Brittany's story.
And that wasn't the only evidence the car provided. Spots of blood were found on the dashboard of the car, smeared across the passenger seat headrest, and speckled throughout the back seat. At the
So you take all this stuff on the backdrop of what they have told the cops. Now what? Then you go back and now you re-interview these people, and that's when you see even more cracks coming.
Where the car pulled off, signs of a struggle were evident. A crowbar sat in the grass with what appeared to be blood spatter peppered over the cold iron surface. Blood and ash were found to be pooled in various spots in the grass and dirt. Pieces of clothing, burnt to an absolute crisp, were found and identified as Adriana's. Her bra was nearly unrecognizable. White napkins marred by blood were also left at the scene, as well as a pair of white shoes. There was something else alongside the weapons and blood that may sound a bit familiar. Strands of a hair weave were strewn across the scene, and they didn't belong to Adriana.
You wear a weave? My daughter was doing it today. Is that a weave?
See, it's a seemingly innocuous piece of information. Do you have a hair weave? She doesn't know that they found some shit at the scene. And there's only one way that gets there. So is this a mother-daughter operation? Sort of seems like it.
It's weave.
Weave.
Weave. Yeah.
Oh, it looks real.
Thank you.
Thank you. It looks so beautiful. Just had it done. But I'm missing a little piece, though. You guys find it anywhere?
She do the little braids in it and everything? Or, I don't know.
Cops don't. Guys generally, with her anyway. I mean, sure. Do we notice when some woman, like our wife or girlfriend or daughter, oh, you get your hair cut. It looks pretty. Think they give a shit about her hair? No. It's an innocuous detail that has importance. Or seemingly innocuous detail.
Does she do all that?
Yeah, this my hair right here.
Oh, that's your, okay.
Yeah, she was just braiding these in, but it hurt. We've been doing it for about 3 or 4 days now, and it hurt.
Mm-hmm. Does it hurt when it gets pulled out by somebody you're trying to burn?
Okay.
Huh? Could somebody grab me some toilet paper so I can blow my nose, please?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
The police returned to the interview room about 30 minutes later. By now, it's around 2 in the morning, less than 12 hours after the 911 call was made, and they have a request that Tina may not even realize the importance of.
Tina, do me a favor. Stand up, turn around. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Look at this right here. Oh, that's weave in there. That's weave in there. Yeah, take that out home.
I told you that my daughter was.
Yeah. I didn't realize she was weaving all that in the back.
Yeah, so this is all my hair right here.
Is there a spot missing?
Okay. Okay, that'll work. Yeah, that'll work.
You see, the missing patch of hair on the back of Tina's head was a match for the hair left at the scene of the brutal attack. It's likely that as Adriana bravely fought for her life, she managed to pull out the chunk of Tina's hair. And if the matching hair wasn't damning enough, at the scene of the crime, investigators found perhaps the most critical piece of evidence in the case: a black taser lying in the grass, which brought up an important question.
The forensics can tell a big story. You got, if there's a struggle, first thing that the medical examiner does, they put bags over the hands. Why do they do that? Because the hands can contain a lot of information. You can have injuries like defensive wounds. You can have DNA under the fingernails. You can have, and like with this taser, you can have DNA or fingerprints on the taser.
Brought up an important question. Who owned the taser? As you can imagine, no one from the mobile home park could quite agree on an answer. Though they were eager to throw one another under the bus, their discussion of the taser gives a glimpse of the possible motive behind the gruesome crime and provides a look at how dysfunctional their relationships were leading up to the attack on Adriana. In Tina's first interrogation, mere hours after the attack, investigators ask if she recalls police visiting to speak to Adriana about problems in the trailer park the previous week.
The police came out there last week to talk to her about the problems she had in her neighborhood.
Yeah, they talked to me too.
Okay. So you were there. What was the problem?
Her and another girl come out there to fight Adriana because Adriana was supposed to have got smart with her on the phone.
Okay.
And Adriana's boyfriend was there, Andre Smith, and he sent Adriana in the house. No, he came outside the house, and he was saying that I was in the middle of that, which I didn't even know the white girl. And he said, he cussed all the kids out and me that was outside. And he told Adriana to go in the house and get that thing or whatever.
Get that thing. What's get that thing?
She came back outside on the porch. She was on the porch cussing, and she came out in the walkway, and she tried to tase my daughter.
There we go. Now we know she tried to tase her daughter. How did her daughter all of a sudden get in the middle of a dispute with the white girl, with the boyfriend?
Who tried to tase your daughter?
Adriana.
Adriana got a taser? What kind of taser?
I just think it was a black one.
A black one.
She said that,
You seen it?
Yeah, everybody out there saw it.
Me.
I just know it was black.
Okay.
And it made a loud noise.
Okay.
Everybody out there saw it.
Heather has a different story about who owned the taser, however, and Tina isn't going to like it.
Does Brittany have any problems with Ariana?
Adriana had got into it, and Adriana tried to tase her. That's all that Brittany had told me. They had got into it, and Adriana tried to tase her.
How long ago was this?
I think that was like 3 weeks ago.
Well, that's consistent that Adriana tried to tase Brittany.
They had got into it.
What kind of taser she got? Who has the taser?
Brittany had a taser.
Did the taser belong to Brittany?
I'm not sure.
What that taser look like?
I seen it once before. It was big. It was long. It was a long taser. It was made.
What color?
Black.
Okay.
It was black. It was probably about that long. It had like little things on the side of it. I never seen the taser before. That was the first time I ever seen it. When I seen it.
I'm believing Heather. Are you believing Heather?
How you know it's Brittany's?
Brittany had it, so I don't know.
Have you ever seen Brittany with that taser before this?
No, today was the first time I seen him with.
You saw Tina
That
today
day
with
or
it?
today?
Today was the first time.
Today you saw Tina,
I
Brittany?
seen Brittany with it on the counter earlier.
Today?
Earlier today, it was down
In
at
her,
my house.
in Tina's house?
And I seen that taser, and I asked her, I said, what is that taser for? And they told me to stay out of grown folks' business.
You can hear the uncertainty in her voice when she says no with an upward inflection. When she repeats her answers, it's clear that she's attempting to make them sound more affirmative and honest, and she's trying to solidify her story.
No, today was the first time I seen him with. Today was the first time.
Today you saw Tina? Was Tina there?
Tina was outside.
She didn't hear her say that?
No.
When you asked her about that?
Well, so what do we have so far? Let's just analyze this because we're trying to figure out who's telling the truth, right? We've got Brittany lying like crazy because we know she wasn't, there from 6 to 1. And we also know that Brittany was lying about where she was because we know that her car was at the crime scene. And we also know that Brittany had a beef with Adriana. So we know that Brittany's involved.
Tina was outside. Tina always telling me to stay out of grown folks' business.
When the investigators returned to question Tina after speaking with Heather, they had new information to use against her in their quest for answers.
And we also, I forgot to mention this, we also have Tina's hair, or her weave, at the scene.
We talked to you earlier about a taser.
I told you about a taser.
What'd you tell me about that taser?
That Brittany and the day that a white girl came over to fight Adriana, that Andre told Adriana to go get that thing, and she went in the house and got a taser.
Okay.
Tried to tase Brittany with it.
Okay. What about the taser that was over at your house today?
Taser at my house? I don't know about it.
You don't know about a taser at your house?
No, sir.
I've been told about a taser at your house.
I didn't know it was there.
You don't know anything about it, huh?
Tina is extremely uncomfortable with this topic of conversation.
It is, body language is interesting to watch because all of a sudden she's bristling and...
She repeats back the question, which has the same sort of effect as a pause. It gives her more time to contemplate her answer. She keeps her hands perfectly placed in her lap, which is extremely atypical in normal conversation, and indicates she is in a state of cognitive overload as a result of having to think very hard about what she should say. We don't observe these types of responses in individuals who are volunteering information from actual memory, and her odd behavior certainly hasn't gone unnoticed by the investigators.
Heather's telling me that she always has to protect Adriana from you and your daughter. You and your daughter chasing around all over the place. Your daughter has a taser. She saw the taser over at your house today.
My baby don't have a taser. We never had a taser.
I don't know. That's what she's telling me. Why is she telling me that?
I don't know. We never had a taser, sir. Okay. Adriana had a taser. We never had a taser. My baby was tased.
Y'all stories are getting further and further apart.
Like I said, Adriana tried to tase Brittany with the taser. Brittany has a scratch across her chest right here. That I was grabbing Brittany from off the porch so that they wouldn't fight. I told you we were best friends in that trailer park in the beginning.
That's funny because Heather says that her and Adriana are best friends and that you and Adriana don't get along and that you and Adriana are constantly having problems and that you and your daughter have been chasing Adriana around this trailer park.
So there we go.
Trying to hurt her. And that you have a taser in your house. And that taser was Brittany's taser. And that Brittany had chased
when the police
Adriana
come out there,
around.
if you can check back, when the police came out there, Adriana called the police that day.
Okay.
I told the police what happened. The same thing I'm telling you is that Adriana tried to tase Brittany with the...
So this is not helping her at all. You got Adriana supposedly trying to tase her. This is probably what could have happened. I bet you she took the taser from her and used it on her. I mean, could that have happened? I suppose it could have happened. But you've got the taser found at the scene. You've got her Jeep at the scene. there's just too much. And now she's going off, and this explanation that she gives is a reason for the crime.
Taser. The same thing I'm telling you, Adriana called the police that day.
And you want to press charges?
No, what I say?
I don't know.
No, actually, no. They didn't even come out there to press charges. They told us to just cool it out. For us to stay on our side, for her to stay on that side. That's
So somebody's using a fucking weapon, and they're not going to come out?
I talked to the officer who came out there that night.
Was supposed to be leaving town. She was not going to be here for long.
Okay, right. Because I talked to that officer, and he told me exactly that. Okay. But he told me that Adriana did not wish to pursue charges against y'all.
Well, he never asked us about pressing charges. He just said for us to cool it out because he's tired.
Because he was talking to Adriana about pressing charges against you.
Coming out here.
He didn't ask you because you weren't the one bringing forth the charges. She was.
Okay. Why would I bring charges? I didn't.
No, you weren't.
She
was going to bring charges against y'all for attacking her.
But we didn't attack her.
But so that's what
she needed
told.
Her boyfriend. Adriana's boyfriend told her to go get that thing. Adriana was standing on the porch arguing. She wasn't even thinking about going to get a taser. He told her to go get that thing. We didn't know what that thing was until she came outside with it. I didn't know she had a taser.
Then why is Heather saying that she sees the taser in your house and that Brittany has it? And that Brittany is trying to... I know where it is right now. It's in my evidence locker.
Okay, well then how do we have it?
Because Heather says you have it.
Where do we get a taser from? We don't even know nobody here. We don't have no family here. Only people we know is the people in the trailer park. Where would we get a taser from?
I don't know.
Like, is a taser really that hard to come by? I mean, Michael got kicked out of school for buying a taser when he was in 9th grade. That was a fun day for me.
You can buy them all over the place. They sell them at pawn shops and everywhere else.
As you can see, Tina is growing frustrated with Heather throwing her daughter under the bus.
That bitch is snitching on me.
Brittany, however, seems a lot less upset about it.
We have information that you and Andrea, that y'all argued a lot. Mm-hmm. And y'all fought. Your mom had to break you up one time. Is this true?
Yeah.
What was y'all fighting about?
I have the slightest idea. If you really want to know the truth, somebody else was there to fight her. We were outside to watch it. She gets mad and she tries to tase me.
We have Heather saying that the taser belonged to you.
Mm-hmm.
She's seen it at your house.
Okay.
Is this the truth or a lie?
It's a lie. Only time I've seen a taser was when Adriana tried to tase me. That night, that day, Mom had to separate.
But who's dead? Who's injured?
How long ago was that?
2 weeks ago. Something like that.
Is that when you almost had to fight on the porch?
Yeah.
You ever seen a stun gun over in anybody's house?
Yeah.
Where you seen one at?
Zimmerman's house.
Okay. That's interesting you say that, because your wife says she saw it over at Tina's house. So your wife's telling us all this stuff that makes Tina look bad.
Uh-huh.
And you're telling us that it was at Zimmerman's house, right?
It was gave to her.
It was gave to her by who?
Andre Smith.
Andre Smith gave her a taser.
Yeah.
Where's Andre Smith?
He locked up.
He locked. Is that her boyfriend or her husband?
Her boyfriend.
Boyfriend. And describe it. Well, actually, I already described it, didn't I? Can't really ask you this.
Well, think about that. If depending upon when her boyfriend was locked up, could he have told Adriana to go in and go get the taser if he was locked up?
Look like he got tape on because the back part missed.
Oh, yeah. Who put the tape on? Who put the tape on?
Who put the tape on?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who put the tape on.
You mentioned some tape.
Because there's tape on there. That tape.
All right. But you saw it with tape on there because the back's missing. So, I mean, you seeing a taser and there's tape on it is one thing. You seeing a taser and knowing the reason for the tape being on it is a totally different thing.
Exactly.
So how come you know that the back is missing? Was this explained to you, or did you see it put on, or do you know?
No, I seen the tape.
Okay. But like I said, seeing tape, if you saw tape on this recorder on here, you wouldn't necessarily know that the tape's on there to keep the battery in place.
If you ain't got no back part, I know.
It doesn't have no back part. Okay. So it has no back plate and tape's on it.
Yeah.
Okay. That does make sense. All right. So Andre Smith gave it to her.
Yeah.
Where does she normally keep it?
In a cabinet.
Where?
In the top cabinet. By the refrigerator.
Who else would know this?
Whoever be in the house.
Why, she go, hey, here's where I keep my taser?
No, because she was like always pulling it out and be playing with it.
Really? Well, she made threats with people or something?
No, she just be playing. You know? Now, I ain't gonna lie. At one point in time, everybody was cool with everybody.
Strangely enough, Darren's story aligns more closely with Tina's than with his own wife's. It's possible that Heather is trying to frame Tina, while Darren is telling the truth so he doesn't get himself into trouble. The taser incident between Adriana and Brittany is just one domino falling in the long line of conflict that led to the attack of Adriana. A compounding of incidents that will unravel, revealing an absurd motive. Following the first round of interrogations, everyone was released and sent home.
Think about that. Somebody's responsible for this, but the reason they were released and sent home is because they just don't have probable cause to arrest them for murder.
Unaware of just how much evidence was rapidly stacking up against them. And though they weren't talking freely to police, they sure were talking to people in their lives, people they probably shouldn't have been trusting. On April 7th, 2010, officers received a call from one of Tina's relatives in Illinois.
So that's one of the things that sinks people, loose lips. Whether it's in the jail or whether it's, oh my God, I can't believe this, and this.
They refused to identify themselves and stated that they had information to disclose about the case. According to the source, Tina called her mother 2 days after the attack and admitted that she, Brittany, and Heather beat Adriana. She managed to scramble away, which caused a heated argument between Tina and Brittany. Brittany tackled Adriana as she made one last attempt to escape into the woods, and it was then that Tina lit her on fire. Tina, Heather, and Brittany callously fled.
So this could have just easily ended in a misdemeanor assault, but no, they gotta fucking burn somebody at the stake. Over what? And this is a recurring theme in these videos, right? Crimes like this happen over what? Over fucking nothing. Nothing.
Though Brittany realized she left her shoes at the scene of the crime as they drove away.
Moron, your bus is leaving.
Tina told her it was too late to turn around. Afterward, Tina ordered Brittany to leave the area and stay away until the police were gone. Brittany took that time to take care of some evidence, washing the car interior with hand sanitizer, burning the clothes they were wearing, and disposing of the lighter fluid. While telling her relatives the story, Tina didn't appear to have much remorse whatsoever for
Why the fuck would you do that? Why would you tell somebody what happened?
her actions. When her relatives urged her to turn herself in so the law would potentially go easy on Brittany, Tina told them that even if Adriana died, they'd be fine because the cops had no real evidence against them.
Oh, they never have evidence. I get that all the time. They got nothing on me. So let's analyze it. So you got somebody calling in anonymously. Now, they can't use what the person that called in anonymously in court. It's hearsay. Even though she's saying what the defendant said, it's still hearsay. It's coming from someone other than the declarant, okay? So and it's offered for its truth. So it is 100% hearsay. But they can use that information to further investigate the case and give them more details about where to look.
Late night of April 8th, only 1 day after that call was made to the police, Adriana tragically passed away, her family by her side, having never woken from the coma she fell into. She died just 5 days before her 20th birthday.
And thank God she never woke again from her coma. Because honestly, that's just pain. Tragic that somebody had to, beat the shit out of her and then burn her at the stake. It's not just to punch her in the nose. You gotta burn her at the fucking stake? Are you kidding me?
and never had the opportunity to turn her life around. The attempted murder that police were almost certain Tina, Brittany, and Heather had committed had turned into a homicide. On the same day that Adriana passed, even more evidence against the three women was brought to light. Police received a call from a high school classmate of Brittany's named Regine, stating that she had been being harassed by Brittany and Tina regarding the case. When police reported to the high school, Regine stated she had received multiple calls from both Brittany and Tina, trying to convince her to pose as Brittany during a polygraph test so that Brittany could...
Oh my God. Here, I'd like you to pose as my daughter during a polygraph test. First of all, polygraphs are not admissible in court. Are they used sometimes to try to convince a prosecutor to not charge somebody? Yeah. But when all of a sudden you're pressuring somebody like this, pretend you're her. I mean, fucking A. Stick a fork in both of these guys. They're done.
So that Brittany could pass. The police were almost certain they were the culprits, but the question of why they committed these terrible crimes in the first place remained to be answered. To get to the bottom of it, both Brittany and Tina were interviewed immediately after their arrests.
Tina, you remember me? And this investigator, Tyree. You know what this is all about.
However, instead of starting with questions, they began by giving her some information.
Now we're going to tell you what we think happened. Good, Tom.
On that particular night, you, Brittany, and Heather were gotten in a verbal altercation, a physical altercation with Adriana Zimmerman. Okay. The fight kind of escalated a little bit, got out of hand. She was attacked with a pry bar, whatever you want to call it, crowbar. And then she was disabled with a stun gun and then set on fire.
And all this was supposed to happen in the trailer park and nobody heard it.
Not at the trailer. I didn't say at the trailer park. I'm saying during that night. It originated at the trailer park. You, Brittany, Heather, and maybe one or two other people transported her over to the Ashland Avenue on the gas lines, and that's where the
what? What?
Ashland Avenue.
What is that?
It's out another road over by the house. And that's where it went bad. We got information that you're involved in it.
It's true they do in fact have some groundbreaking information. You see, there's a very specific reason that Tina was sought out by investigators, and when they finally divulge it, she's going to be absolutely shocked.
Like this, Tina.
Listen.
Not only did our victim name you,
You know
first
what?
and last
We
name,
went and talked to those
not
people
only
yesterday.
did they name Heather, not only did they name your daughter, you've also told people. You know, that's how we know the story, too.
Me?
Yeah. Why don't you let me finish telling?
Okay.
Okay?
Go ahead.
We hear that you used lighter fluid, poured it on her and lit her up. And you're mad at Brittany because she got up off the girl, and that's how she got up and got to run away.
I'm mad at my baby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else, sir?
Yeah.
What else? What else is it?
She told two people.
Who?
She told the fire chief and she told the EMS supervisor.
Okay. Now, when did she do that?
Right before they put her under.
I got to talking to her, and I told her that I was probably going to be the last person she talked to for a while, and that in order to catch the people that did this to her, I needed her to tell me if she knew who it was. She told me yes, and she named 3 girls.
They didn't give us that at the beginning, I mean, so that's artfully done. And why does it, we got suspense here. But statements under the belief that you're going to die are admissible as a dying declaration. That comes into court. And guess what? It's uncross-examinable. Because, the person's not there. So usually you have a right to confrontation of your accuser. Not in this case. Not where you have a dying declaration. And it's powerful evidence. Because why does this paramedic have any axe to grind? She doesn't know any of these people. And so it has a certain indicia of reliability. These are the kind of terms we use. In other words, there's some truth to it because she's got no axe to grind. Why would she make this up? And she doesn't even know the 3 girls. You know, I mean, this paramedic doesn't even know who the hell these people are. And all of a sudden she's going to pull 3 fucking names out of a hat?
A Tina, a Heather, and a Brittany. She did not give me last names. And I asked her why they did it to her, and she said, I thought we'd made up.
I thought we made up. So they're attacking her, they're killing her, and she thought they had made up as friends.
If Adriana's supposed to have told these people this, wouldn't you think that she would have told them everything that can happen if you ran on the ground?
No, because she's fucking dying. she's going into unconsciousness.
Ground and you burning up and you about to die.
She told everything she could was the pain she was in at that time, and they didn't give her long because they had to put her out. She said, EMS supervisor told her. She kept asking her, am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? Am I going to make it?
Am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? Statements under the belief that your death is impending.
She said, I'm going to do the best we can for you.
The detectives have become privy to some other damning information that they share with Tina, and it's all about to come crashing down on her.
He ain't going around here telling people you killed that girl. You're talking to your relatives and telling them that. And they calling us. But you're talking to somebody and telling them that, she go ahead and die. Y'all be good to go. Well, that ain't the case, is it? Because she died. She died last night. Succumbs to her wounds.
They told us that she was in a coma yesterday.
She died last night.
She died last night. Why do you think we come back out there like gangbusters today?
Mm-hmm. That's why you're under arrest for murder.
Dad, the one who told us that.
Who?
This time she's handcuffed to the table, it looks like.
Gene, his dad, he said he called down there and they said that she was in a deep coma.
Well, she didn't come out of it. But guess what? We got information from the ME.
Medical examiner.
That she didn't make it because of the burns. Now you sit there, you think about it. You think about what we're saying. That woman, those kids would never see their mama again. You've got a chance to see your kids.
I don't know that.
You got a chance to see your kids.
Oh, no, you don't. No, you don't. Because guess what? Brittany will be charged as an adult, and they'll be in separate prisons, and you'll never see your fucking daughter again. Just awful. Just absolutely awful.
Again, somewhere down the road. Now, like I said, we're not going to sit here with you as long as we did the other night. Maybe you didn't mean for it to be this way, but that's what I said. We don't know. So you need us to be able to tell your side of the story.
And when you have lighter fluid, do you know how much fucking lighter fluid you have to put on somebody to burn their entire body? It comes out in little squirts. I mean, it's not like it comes out unless you take the top off, I suppose. But how awful to burn somebody alive.
When it comes time to go before the judge. And by you just sitting over there, not, thinking we don't have nothing, we've only gave you a little bit of what we got.
That's why you don't give a fucking statement, because you don't know what the hell they got. But I don't think it would matter in this case anyway, because they've got forensics, they've got statements from other people that led them to some pretty compelling evidence.
And believe me, it's not hearsay. We know that that night, those clothes were taken and burned that y'all were wearing.
Burn where?
We
still had the same clothes on the next morning when they came to get us.
Don't you have 2 small children? You know these children?
Yes, I know them.
Okay. This is their mama they ain't never going to see again.
And I think the oldest one was a boy, correct? He saw this. He saw the stuff going down at the trailer park that night.
No, when those people said that those babies was locked up in the room.
I'm saying
the people said,
they saw all the commotion with us at their all's house that night. They were sitting in that patrol car. They knew something was wrong. Have you ever heard of a dying declaration?
No.
That's powerful.
It really is powerful. And like I said, it's uncross-examinable.
I'm gonna tell you now. When we walk out this door this afternoon, there's not go. Next time you see me, we'll be in a courtroom.
Either way it go, I ain't going home. So, right?
But Tina, I don't want to walk out this
I
door.
want to talk, but I'm not saying nothing. What I want to tell. I can't hear what you said.
What'd you say? You
Usually when I'm talking to somebody about a murder that's happened, and I'm giving them that advice that I think they should talk to me, because I realize it's probably one of the last things you want to talk to a person about. And certainly you don't want to tell the cops about it.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to talk to anybody except for maybe your mama or your family and tell them what happened so they can fucking turn on you. Dumb shit.
But I think the thing that keep in mind and what I reiterate to these people is that, if there's circumstances, if there's a reasoning behind this that could be mitigating. I mean, if there's a reason.
There's no fucking reason that could be mitigating about burning somebody alive. Well, we thought we'd just kind of scare her and we just put too much lighter fluid on her. I mean, there's no mitigating circumstance that could exist. None.
The reason why this happened that, shows why you did this. It had to be agonizing. And then to run a distance that she ran, because we know, the burnt clothes and her shoes and everything is right there in the woods. To run that distance to a house and beg.
I hope you guys are on your second bottle of wine by now, just letting you know.
For help. And to wait there, still cooking, for the ambulance to get there. And then the last thing you're saying is, besides telling who your accusers are, am I going to see my kids?
Not who your accusers are. Who the criminals are that did this to you.
Am I going to live? Those are your last questions before you're knocked out and told, hey, you may or may not talk to somebody again.
In one last-ditch effort to get a confession or some semblance of remorse from Tina, a detective presents her with a photo of Adriana's charred body.
Just let me tell you something.
First of all, when you see autopsy photographs, my skin curls every time I see them because they're never good. Because why? Because it's of a dead body, and burns are the absolute worst.
That's her body. Hey, let me look at. I want you to look at him so I know you understand what I'm saying. The medical staff and the medical examiner's office didn't even know if this girl was white or black female or white female, because she was so burnt so bad.
Imagine the terror, the absolute torture that she underwent. Who deserves that? Nobody. Nobody deserves that.
They didn't have a copy of our report at the time. You wouldn't want this to happen to you, would you? You wouldn't want to go out this way, would you? Huh?
I don't know. Is that an option? Fuck.
Yeah, we're gonna transport you across the street. Just hands up there right now. Okay.
Tina doesn't budge. However, the photos have clearly had an effect on her. After she's left in the room waiting to be taken to jail, she mumbles haunting things to herself through her sobs, even seemingly calling out to Adriana. The words she chooses to use are bone-chilling.
Adriana, Lord have mercy. Come back and haunt us, terrorize. Please, Adriana. Adriana. I told you. Oh, you was a sweet girl. Oh, I tried to wait.
the question of why they committed these terrible crimes in the first place remained to be answered. As it turns out, there were numerous alleged love triangles within the trailer park. All of the dirty truth, it seems, began making its way to the surface. Not only did Adriana reportedly tell Heather that Tina was sleeping with Darren, but allegedly Adriana herself was sleeping with Darren. And Heather had confronted her about it.
Darren.
It's a messy web of cheating and lies, one that Darren is surprisingly transparent about. However, he leaves out something that came out during the trial. According to Tina, she only slept with Darren in exchange for substances.
Tell me what was going on. There's been a discussion between us about an accusation flying around between you being accused of sleeping with your neighbor and friend of your wife. Is that correct?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Tina Brown.
Tina Brown, okay. So the accusation is that you've been sleeping with Tina Brown, and who has been making these accusations?
Everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody. Yeah. Has Andrina Zimmerman been making those accusations?
Yes, my wife told me that. She told her that today.
Okay, so your wife told you that Andriana had reported to her that you've been sleeping with Tina Brown. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
If you recall, in Darren's video interrogation with police, he dilly-dallied on the phone while he was unashamedly talking and laughing with someone who wasn't his wife.
Yeah, somebody else he's sleeping with.
I'm gonna call you right back, man.
You done?
Yeah.
All right. Is that Heather?
Little tenderoni.
Huh?
No, the little tenderoni, man.
Oh, sorry. When you said you were on the phone with your sugar thing or whatever just now, was it Tina you were talking to?
No, that's somebody else.
Okay. But you told me that night you were seeing Tina.
Yeah.
Okay. So is she not your sugar thing?
So when you have these love triangles, so now it makes sense. Because when you have, that creates such a conflagration of emotions that, it's like, why do you think depraved heart murder is when you catch your wife in bed with another man and you shoot the guy because you're just so upset? That's what they call that.
Your sugar thing?
Yeah, that's my old mama.
Okay. That's your old mama. Okay. All right.
And he's so cavalier about this,
Did you and Ms. Zimmerman have any kind of relationship?
Oh, yeah, once in a while.
Something well.
All right. Did y'all have...
Something well.
Okay. This ain't like Monica Lewinsky, man. Did you have sex with her or didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. So you had sexual intercourse with Ms. Zimmerman.
Yeah.
Did your wife know of this?
No.
Did your wife know of you having sex with Tina?
No.
I bet she don't know about this other thing you got on the side either, does she? Okay. Okay.
He's probably so happy. Look, I'm so glad I didn't have any of this going on, that I'm not part of this. But he really pushed the ball down the hill.
Have you been accused by Heather of having sex with Zimmerman?
Uh-uh.
Okay.
Only Tina.
Did Tina make any accusations? I mean, Tina probably knows that you're sleeping with Zimmerman, doesn't she? Okay, so none of your girls know that you're sleeping with the other one.
Uh-uh.
You're doing a good game, right? Okay. So, Heather...
He's a handsome devil.
...is aware of the accusations of you having sex with Tina.
Yeah.
But her and Tina are still tight cooking fish together. See, that's what blows my mind, man. You got a good game going on. If them two... knowing the accusation there, you still got them over there cooking fish together.
You look at Rod Stewart. How many babies mamas does Rod Stewart have? And guess what happens there? They all get together at Thanksgiving. Everybody gets together. I know I've got a client that lives in Michigan, and he's got several babies. They all get along. So it can happen, I guess.
Either you got a good game or Tina does, because she's playing it off well. So, me and Rusty sat there and laughed about that all night, but we couldn't figure out how you were getting away with that, man, because our wives would, we'd be done. They'd have our cars and our boats and everything else, So you getting away with it.
On May 10th, soon after Tina, Heather, and Brittany were arrested, the police received a letter from an incarcerated man who said he knew who killed Adriana and what the true motive was for the heinous crime. He stated that several months prior to the murder, he bought an illegal substance from Darren at the Roadway Inn. He alleged that Adriana was with Darren in the hotel room while the illegal transaction took place. According to him, Heather arrived and threatened Adriana with a box cutter, reportedly yelling that she would get Adriana sooner or later.
That's murder one.
Fortunately, their day in court came sooner rather than later. During the trial, it was revealed that the murder was even more disturbing than police could have imagined. Adriana had been lured to the trailer by Tina under the guise of rekindling their friendship. When she arrived, Tina used the stun gun on her and dragged her to the bedroom. There, Heather stuffed a sock in her mouth, and Brittany beat her. When they drove her to the woods,
how could you do that with your fucking daughter? I just don't know how you could do that.
Tina took turns tasing her until Tina poured gasoline on her and lit her on fire. According to Heather, as the fire started, Tina jumped up and down, exclaiming, "Burn, bitch, burn." Tina Brown received a death sentence for her crimes against her former friend, making her one of only 3 women on Florida's death row. Though Brittany was 16 at the time of the murder, she was sentenced to life in prison. Heather took a plea bargain, testifying against Tina in order to receive only 25 years for the second-degree murder she was convicted of. At the time of this video, Tina has filed a motion to have her death sentence thrown out because of false testimony at her trial. According to Tina and a witness at the trial, the witness was coerced by Heather to testify that Tina had confessed to her in jail that she was the mastermind behind Adriana's murder. Heather reportedly threatened the witness, forcing her to say that Heather was present but had nothing to do with the murder. To this day, the former friends are spinning rumors about each other and trying to climb over one another to reach salvation. Only time will tell what the law will decide. But one thing is for certain, this brutal yet petty crime against Adriana should never have happened.
Not a truer word spoken. All right, and now you've had a couple bottles of wine. You've had a shit ton of popcorn. Probably not feeling the greatest, but at least you're home, right? You're probably home. It's probably midnight or thereabouts. So if it's after midnight, you just stay in bed. So if you look at these 3, you get credit for cooperation. And so she got 25. Heather got 25 years. Tina got a death sentence, and Brittany got life as a 16-year-old. How could a mother, mastermind this and allow her daughter to participate? That's what happens when you're doing drugs and you live in a trailer court. Not that everybody who lives in a trailer court has any bad character at all, because I've known plenty of people that have, but when you're living kind of below the poverty line and your money's going to drugs as opposed to bettering your life, you're taking shortcuts in that part of your life. You're taking shortcuts in every part of your life. And how awful that this happened to somebody who just maybe made some mistakes but did not deserve to die. And the aggravating circumstances of the homicide is what really caused the death sentence in this case. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you put your bottles of wine away, and make sure you clean up your dishes. And if it's probably after midnight, so you should don't be going anywhere. Because if you're hungry and you want some Taco Bell, order it. Don't go out and if you've had something to drink, because just chill. Nothing good happens after midnight. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your board-certified criminal defense lawyer, with our content genius, Michael Rivers. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and we'll see you next time. Certified criminal defense lawyers. I'm Bruce Rivers. Make sure you subscribe. Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you... Oh, and make sure that you sign up for Patreon. See you next time on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. 23-hour lockdown, please, is at my God.